idea for a business, when she brought it up, that made me think, oh gosh, if I want to do my own company, do I need to do my own?
No, it's not a group project to that level. I mean, the work's going to be whatever's going to do, whether you're in a team of multiple or a team of one. Like, no matter what, like, I think it would actually probably be, so it's going to be give or take. Like, and sometimes it's going to be difficult to work in a team, specifically when we get into competitor identification. If you have 4 people on the team, everybody's responsible for identifying 3 competitors, and they can't be the same type of company, right? So you have 4 people, everybody needs to find 3 competitors that are in the Texas market or in the Austin, like in this area. So that makes it difficult to find the information, all right? Whereas if you're working by yourself, some components might require a source minimum. So you might have to actually do more sources because the assignment might require a minimum of 6 sources, source citations, but everybody on the team is responsible for a minimum of 2 by themselves.
Yeah.
So like, I need at least 4, what I'm telling you in the grading is I need at least 4 sources of citation before you complete this project. My teams, they can break this up in 2 people, 2 people, 2 people, hit that minimum. For you, you're going to need a little bit more because you're working on it by yourself. So it might be easy because you're not butting heads with somebody and you can just work on your own flow, own pace. Is there going to be necessarily, like in some components, you're doing more work, but in other components, like you don't have the competition of other people and like the competitors or the substitutes that they might use, you're not competing with that. So it's kind of like a give or take. I'd say the perfect group is 3. The perfect size is 3.
We can still require, let's say, I know you said it would be approximately 30 papers. So whether it's 1 or 3, it's the same 30 paper.
It will break out to be the same, it will break out to be, yes, I mean, okay. It will break out to be the same, yeah, and it's not 30 pages to the fact of you're typing 30 pages, right? Like it's how it's broken down. So even in the process of how you submit the assignment, I'll show you how to create like a table of contents so that all you got to do is read my feedback, update from the feedback given, and then take that information, put it into this section, and like when you do the table formatting, all you got to do is update table. So I'll show you how to make it like an easy and literally, it should be plug and play. By the time this business plan is completed, I should have read about at least 80% of your business plan. So there's no reason that for this 30-page document that everybody doesn't get an 85 or above. Like the only reason you don't do well on this is if you don't make my recommended updates. All right. All right, so getting in, and I'm a high level, chapter 1, 2, and 3. So forgive me, 1, I'm trying to rush through the material because I want to get you guys out of here at 8:45. Or I want to at least start talking and all that stuff by 8:45. But I'll high level some of these, and then I don't think I'll get into chapter 3, but I know I'm going to talk about that material and information. All right. So entrepreneurship, evolution, development, and revolutionary impact. So entrepreneurs recognize opportunities where others see chaos, contradiction, or confusion. Entrepreneurs are aggressive catalysts for change within the marketplace, and entrepreneurs challenge the unknown continuously and continuously create breakthroughs for the future. All right. So understand in today's society, everybody's using this ticket or this hot ticket word right here is entrepreneur. I have my own business. I'm an entrepreneur. All right. I got an LLC. I'm an entrepreneur. The key thing to take away here is from a textbook definition of what entrepreneurs are. Entrepreneurs recognize opportunities where others see chaos, contradiction, or confusion, i.e., entrepreneurs are problem solvers, okay? Entrepreneurs are aggressive catalysts for change within the marketplace. So even in this time right now, like there is a large opportunity to be an to have first mover advantage on certain ventures. Because we're going into, everything's going to have tech. Everything has AI. All right. We've seen, what's the current business plan model, right? For like everything that you have, anything that you pay for, you got an app and what else? You got an app and then what else? But for what?
Apple Pay. What you talking about? Like the technology of payment methods?
Like any app you use, right? You download this app and then what does it give you? How do you pay for it?
It's gone through electronic.
But what is it? What is that called? What's the business model? You got Netflix, you're on what kind of business model?
Subscription.
It's a subscription, right? Everything's subscription, right? There's nothing you can get right now that's not on a subscription. Like it's annoying. I mean, it's even, cable. Like, I mean, I'm in this whole battle with cable. I'm getting ready to get rid of cable, but there's certain things I still like on cable, but everything is, you gotta have Hulu, Netflix, you need ESPN and Disney package, and it's just, everything's a subscription. But a opportunity as a business here though is, and when I say from an entrepreneurial perspective, an opportunity would be to take landscaping, all right? I just got a landscaper probably about 6 months ago. I pay $50 every 2 weeks. It is the best $50 every 2 weeks I've had. I have terrible allergies. I was cutting my grass 3 times a week. Literally, it'd take me an hour to cut the grass and 2 hours to get myself back from the allergies. So now $50 every 2 weeks, and I don't gotta have that time to spend on cutting the grass and so forth. But why couldn't you make a subscription model out of these services?
Well,
That would disrupt.
You trying to make a subscription model
For lawn care.
Lawn care?
Yeah. That would be an innovation to the industry. That would be a catalyst of a change. Right? One of the things from landscapers, I think that, is an opportunity that they miss out on is, if I cut more than 2 or 3 people in this same development or this same block, why don't I give a discount? I should offer, hey, if we cut 2 more of your neighbors, I'll cut everybody, normally I charge $50, I'll cut everybody for $40. But I need 3 and you all gotta pay every 2 weeks, or you all gotta pay on whatever model. And if one person goes away, then the discount goes away. The update is the payment process, the subscription. Uber and Lyft destroyed the taxi industry. The interesting thing about this, and when I think about this again, we're talking about being an aggressive catalyst for change within the marketplace. Uber was going at taxis in the city. And it was because people were experiencing problems getting a taxi. So they came up with this model where you open up your phone, you tell them where you're going, and somebody will pick you up in their car and drop you off wherever you need to go. Uber is interesting because Uber is not profitable. Uber is still not a profitable company. But if you go anywhere and you need to catch a ride, what do you catch?
Uber and Lyft.
But what are Uber and Lyft?
Ride share.
You don't catch a ride share, you catch Uber and Lyft. And we probably don't catch Uber and Lyft. If you're like, hey, I'm gonna get an Uber. Now I may go into my phone app and I'm going to Uber, and then I'm gonna go into Lyft and see which one's cheaper and which one's coming faster. But I'm calling an Uber. I might use Lyft, but it's still, I call it the ride share, I call it an Uber. Uber was such a catalyst to change in that transportation market. Uber, again, it's not profitable. So even knowing and looking at this information, one of the things Uber is looking to do, I mean, this is that robo-taxi, and have you guys seen that car out there that's sitting outside, that Waymo, right? They just announced 2 days or a week ago that Waymo was coming to Austin in 2025. I've been seeing that damn car out there since the beginning of this semester started. So the problem with Uber is the overhead is the peak. You got to pay, like, all they're really doing is connecting business to consumer. So they're connecting a contractor that's a contract driver to a person looking for a ride, and they charge you for that transaction. That's their business model. But the reason that they're not profitable is because their profits go to the driver. We're going into an AI model world where Elon already demoed the robo-taxi. They got the van, this FSD, I believe, the full self-driving service on Tesla. So people can pay $199 for, I don't know if it's a month, but the Tesla will drive itself.
Oh, yeah.
And then his goal is that, like, every Tesla will be like a income earning vehicle for somebody that owns it. So if you're not using your Tesla, you can turn on this robo-taxi service. And then if your Tesla's in the garage or parked up, like wherever your house is, people that need a ride, they'll go on robo-taxi, they'll call your car, and then your Tesla, you make money off of your Tesla for other people that need it. Waymo is actually owned by Google. Google per share right now is about $180 per share. Waymo owns Google. Waymo contracted with Uber to offer self-automated driving. Like, this is being a catalyst and disruption to society. So when we think about entrepreneurism, you're thinking about problem solving. All right, you're thinking about one of the biggest opportunities I actually worked on. I had a mentor who was looking at pushing law for medical marijuana through Philadelphia. So she wrote on writing the law, what the requirements were to cultivate, to own a store. Like, it was a whole big project. But one of the biggest challenges that are going on in this industry, and this, like, one, we know the law thing, right? The federal law being a problem. So they had to federally decriminalize. But now once they decriminalize federally, it's still a statewide issue, right? Now, the problem with the medical marijuana business is that most businesses burn 80% per month in costs. Like, they don't make money. In order to be one of those businesses, you have to have, to even apply, you have to have access to a $250,000 line of credit. You have to also have access to a portfolio of like $1 million, and you have to pay $50,000 for the application process. So there's not a lot of black and brown that get access to these open opportunities for businesses in the marijuana industry. And a lot of the black and brown were in jail for marijuana, but it might have been first instance marijuana, second instance something happened, third one I got a strike, and because I went for marijuana, but I got in an altercation, protecting myself and convicted, now I'm 3 strikes, I'm in jail for life because of what's now legal. So, like, these are the things that are going on. But an opportunity that was really interesting was, to your nonprofit question earlier, was a nonprofit focused on servicing veterans and children with seizures. So you teach them how to grow and to use based off of healing their bodies and sicknesses. The government will actually pay for those programs. You just gotta write the plan, you gotta execute the program, have the financial analysis to it, and then apply for those requests for proposals. There's a lot of opportunities, all right? But understand that when we think about entrepreneurism, you're doing some type of aggressive catalyst for change. Now, when it comes to business, I don't care what your business is. All right, I have a really terrible analogy, but it's the only one I can come up with, and I think it does a great job of just really delivering the point home. If people can convince people to join a cult to kill themselves, you can start up a business. What's the mission? People join and get behind a mission. So if you can identify a mission that leads a business, the only two things that matter outside of that mission is the business profitable? And can I scale this growth to continue to remain profitable and grow my profits? Your business is doing one of two things. It's either growing or it's dying. And if your business doesn't have access to capital, if your business doesn't have access to loaned money, to lines of credit, credit cards, whatever it may be, if your business doesn't have access to a healthy debt mix, your business is doing one of two things, growing or dying. You guys know this all too, right? Because it's something called economies of scale. There's 1,000 students here. Everybody here on this campus wears t-shirts. Would I be wise to start up a t-shirt business based off of the HT student body? Why or why not? Why would that work? Why would that be a good idea or a good business idea to have a t-shirt company? There's 1,000 students here and everybody wears t-shirts.
You have a good audience base, a good clientele, because everyone.
Or you provide a good product, so they're gonna buy your shirt. I would say no.
I'd say it's not a good idea.
I would say not.
Scalability.
I would say not.
Because everybody else is offering it too cheap already.
It's already established. You're gonna have to, you're starting a new brand of a product that's already established, so you're already going against 1,000 competitors already.
But
So it's
it's just
nothing
like
new.
McDonald's and Burger King, or all these other in and outs. You have all these different burger companies, but they're not the same.
But you're taking, for example, McDonald's and Burger King, or McDonald's and In-N-Out. In-N-Out was an established brand in California. It became a big hype when it came to Texas. And the hype of it is what made it successful, but you don't see as many. You go every
Don't
10
give
miles.
Texas that much credit, man. And
What burger count? Next you're gonna say, but cheese was on.
No. But I love that. I love that analogy. I actually learned about In-N-Out in Cali. And then, but they were family owned, a small family owned business that grew from Cali coming into Texas. And I think they went into a franchise move. All right. But the problem is economies of scale. Right? I'm selling t-shirts. Everybody wears t-shirts, but there's only 1,000 students here. So if my t-shirt is an HT t-shirt, I can only sell that t-shirt to 1,000 students here at HT. I'm missing out on UT. UT has 40,000 students. So remember, your business is either growing or dying, and it's growing based off of the market you have access to. If your business already has a restricted market, your growth potential is not there. And then the second thing is the entrance or ease of entrance, right? If I can tell you all right now, you can buy a t-shirt print machine that will do 4 t-shirts on an automatic like press, move and go, and it will cost you $15,000. I can show you where to get the t-shirts, right? And it's a very low cost business, right? So I start this business at HT, I'm selling t-shirts and I'm selling it to student body. Everybody's buying my t-shirts, right? The product, the brand, but you know, they're just t-shirts, but I'm making money. So what happens when I start making money from my business at HT that I'm selling these t-shirts? What do you think happens? You see me, I'm walking around, man, I'm making $16,000 a week on t-shirts, selling them to HT students. What are y'all gonna do?
Start my own t-shirt company.
I'm gonna start one, you're gonna start one, you're gonna start one, now that 1,000 students gets cut down because it's more competitors. So when there's money and there's growth, then enter competitors. Your businesses always want to be in that first mover advantage. And this also becomes a challenge with small owned businesses. We have to have an exit strategy or know when to pivot the business. Like right now, it makes no sense to have a brick and mortar restaurant in downtown Austin. One, most people do DoorDash, Uber Eats, and so forth, and the foot traffic's not the same way that it used to be. So for me to pay, I'll bring it to Cedar Park because I know the exact numbers. The complex across the street to me, they're charging $8,000 a month for, I forget, it was a pizza shop. $8,000 a month. Your average price point was $20 per order. And you gotta pay $8,000 a month for rent. I'm not talking about the food. I'm not talking about the employees. I'm not talking about the liquor. Think about the restaurant. Before you ever collect money, you pay for the food, the establishment, the Wi-Fi, you set up the ambiance, like you ordered the food, you put it in the refrigerator, the freezer, you had to prep it. A cook had to come in, or your cooking team had to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning to prep the food. The restaurant didn't open up till 12, 1 o'clock. You didn't get your first person till 3. When do you pay for your food? After you eat, right? As a consumer, you pay for all this, and the consumer doesn't pay for the food until after they ate it. That's not accounting for waste. That's not accounting for if the person didn't like it, and all of a sudden now they're saying, so when you look at these, like the opportunity, like how do you change the structure of what we always knew to now be more up to date? And it's not the AI that takes the job, it's the person that uses it. You had 2 questions.
No, I was gonna say, like, when you were saying that it's only 1,000 HT students, you already going in there with a horrible mindset, because you're not looking at the 150 years that we have on the other students, so you're gonna never know, it could get to other people.
Or repetitive customers, just because you have 1,000, people come back and buy
Yeah,
more
so-
t-shirts.
But again, the point was the economies of scale. So like that, the point of that, the example was that your market is only but so big. So you're right, there are other segments that come to it, but the market's only but so big. You put all those people, it still doesn't equate to UT being 40,000 students that are on that campus every single year. The fan base outside of people that attended UT that love the sports. Right, so like but again, the point is the economies of scale, right? We tend to start these businesses, and when you think about Black and brown owned businesses, they're businesses that can only service one customer.
Can I just get your opinion real quick, since you mentioned Black and brown businesses? And also, I'm just thinking about how popular the turkey leg hut in Houston is, where they had all these celebrities, to,
And it wasn't even that
them
good.
in their
It really was.
And
I'm just trying to determine how it went wrong, because now they're.
I don't know why they're closed. My sister flew from Philadelphia to go to Houston, and I'm still upset because my sister ain't been to Austin yet. So she
went to the turkey
flew to damn turkey leg hut. Now, what I find is funny is that there was a video released, and this woman's talking about turkey legs aren't turkey legs aren't turkey. And then she showed at the very end what turkey legs look like, and it was like, wow. So her theory is that turkey legs are actually pork, but they just call them turkey legs because they wouldn't sell if you told them that they were pig legs.
Yeah.
And if you look at a turkey leg, like when you look at it, it's like these, just look at a turkey leg.
Yeah.
And then you tell me what you ate. But that's actually also another opportunity. That's actually also another opportunity and an issue that we have going on in society right now. There's a food scarcity, right? You guys all need to be familiar with this, especially in our community, because we have the health issues that are simulated or that relate to what we eat. A lot of the food in America is injected with hormones, genetic modified organisms. The stuff that's allowed here isn't allowed overseas. I never knew what Mexican cola was until I moved to Texas. It's Coca-Cola with cane sugar. It's cane sugar.
Yeah.
Look, even
The bottom ones are the best ones.
but I didn't know what but the difference is that Coca-Cola in the United States can put high fructose corn syrup as a sugar substitute, where Mexican cola, what it is just cane sugar. And then if you go to anywhere in the European Union, like it's banned to use high fructose corn syrup. It's banned to use certain soy products. So a lot of our food here is actually like it's more of a business-led society than the people, like the health of people, right? I was reading an article and it said our calf or beef from calf to cultivation or, whatever, the end of the life. In America, it's on average 6 months from born to death and processing. In the European Union, it's 18 to 19 months. So we're speeding up the product and you don't know what it is that you eat, anywhere. Personally, I stopped eating fast food. The only fast food I ate was Chick-fil-A. And then the chicken started to be a little bit more stringy. It just tasted different.
They're growing too fast.
Well, they
changed the chicken.
2 months ago before Chick-fil-A. 2 months or maybe 4 months ago, Chick-fil-A, they weren't accepting chicken that had antibiotics in it. Now they're accepting chicken that have antibiotics in it to reduce the price of the product. But there was something different in the taste. So these are all things that are going on. And when I point this to entrepreneurism, this is even a shift of going from a farm-based society into a tech-based society. Nobody wants to be a farmer. Who's farming the food and where does it come from? And none of you are asking those questions. Coca-Cola has commoditized water. Moving here was the most challenging thing moving here. Texas loves Texas and everything in HEB is from Texas. All right. I drank Deer Park. I didn't know I drank spring water. I didn't know there was a difference between spring water, filtered water, purified water, reverse engineered water. And then I just found Instagram and social media university, the caps on top tell you the water. So water is commoditized,
It's
right?
the water for me.
So I'm from Philly. So now with this, right? The crazy thing is the clear cap is supposed to be spring water, but it has some process going into it. The blue cap is supposed to be actual spring water, but it's got to be the light blue, not the dark blue. The dark blue that has some GMO or genetically modified processing. The black one has additives in it. That's the smart water, the essentials, and so forth, right? So the cap is actually color coded to the type of water you're drinking. Now, Ozarka, my wife and I, we found out about this. My wife sent it to me on Instagram. Oh, we got to stop drinking Ozarka water. It's got a clear cap on it. It's not healthy for you. So we go to try to drink this spring water. So we get a case of Fiji water, whatever. And, we go through the thing. And like we said, I'm not looking at the price. Just get right. A case of Ozarka water is $5, $4.99. $3.99 on sale, but $4.99 normally. A case of Fiji water was $40. A case. So when we talk about your health and the choices you make, this is American society, the businesses that are around, but also there's opportunities. Actually, the city of Austin has an opportunity for someone to create a business plan and to research food deserts in the city of Austin. They'll fund it for up to $150,000, $200,000. It's a food desert in the east side of Austin because there's no grocery stores in the vicinity. Right. So again, when we talk about this Black and brown owned businesses in our communities, we don't have our own businesses. And now, because when we get educated, when we get that job, we leave the community and we never come back. So if we leave the community, we never come back, we never reinvest in the community, the businesses that would normally be around that community because people are educated, because the market's there, it's growing, we would have grocery stores, but we leave our communities and don't come back. The ones that make it out leave our communities and we never want to come back.
Okay, it was about the chicken thing. I wanna know, y'all remember Church's Chicken used to be like huge?
Turkey
Those wings, they were like huge. Do you know why? Because now they're small like Kentucky.
Again, this is
What did they change?
so this was the big thing about Purdue, right? Purdue was injecting their chicken with hormones and all this stuff like steroids so that they get bigger. Which when you look at Purdue chicken now, it tells no hormones, but you don't know, right? Look, I sat here and again, this was a challenge, right? Like, where do you get your meat from? In Philly, I was getting my meat from a meat market. I had a buddy who told me, look, that Purdue chicken, leave it alone. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, those wings are too big. Like, look at them. And then we go to the South Italian meat market and the chicken, they were like this. Like, it was really small.
Kentucky.
And I mean, it was crazy, right? Like, so, and I say this again from an entrepreneur, like, these are the things that you look at for areas of opportunity, but businesses basically only go in areas where there's growth potential. If there's no growth, businesses don't come. Again, a big problem in the Black and brown community is the community is not growing because the people that are there that are the law of economics is you always have to have a growing educated population. You always have to have a growing financial population. Like, there has to be more resources coming in. There has to be more education. When I got more education, more resources, I have more innovation. And then eventually the community blows until economies of scale and that bubble pops, right? Society shifts from being a farmer society to being a tech society, right? Or from being a tech in Silicon Valley, now we're all AI. And we're moving into all different locations, all right? We know where these hubs are. Like, there's this, what I find is so interesting is throughout the pressures like COVID, we saw the migration. Businesses left California and they came to Texas because of no taxes. We also saw people started to say, hey, I can live in New York, or I can live in Carolina, the Carolinas, and I can work in New York, and I can get New York money living in the Carolinas. So people are leaving. And then also what happened during COVID and all this, companies went hybrid. And when companies went hybrid, y'all stopped going into the office. So these companies have all these commercial real estate buildings that we're literally waiting to see what's going to happen to the financial institutions because they got this commercial real estate that businesses are trying to get out of and don't want to re-sign, or they're downsizing because the employees don't come and report to that office anymore to need that space. So banks are going to be under pressure, and so are some cities. Like, cities offer tax incentives to businesses to bring in large manufacturing job opportunities. So these are all things that, again, it's the superpower of being a business student. It's what I think that is the most valuable thing that you learn through all these courses. There are 7 factors of external things that go on in that environment, from politics to the health of society, social changes, norms. There's all these things that go on. And what you guys have the ability to do is interpret how these indicators will impact a business. How can I make my business profitable? How can I make my business, how can I save my business money, which makes it profitable? Or what you'll find, especially in this class, as you grow a business, it's counterintuitive. Because the more you grow, the more money you need. The more you grow, the more you're going to have to spend. And this becomes, as a business major, the best skill set you can probably have is accounting. Like, I mean, numbers don't lie, they can be manipulated. So if you know accounting and how to manipulate numbers, that is a powerful tool, right? I also strongly encourage my traditional students, especially, to go into HR because it's human resource capital. Like, the people you hire are the reason why your business grows. We know that happy people lead to increased revenues. We know that happy people over their lifetime earn more money. So whatever it is I do within my business, I gotta make sure that my people are happy. If my people are happy, I'll be profitable. But there's always gonna be a bubble. Small business owners manage their own businesses by expecting stable sales, profits, and growth, whereas entrepreneurs focus their efforts on innovation, profitability, and sustainable growth. Like, this is the crazy thing when you talk about these entrepreneurial opportunities. These companies aren't profitable. Like, Uber is not profitable. Uber is still reporting negative earnings. The only EV company that's profitable is Tesla. Rivian, you guys seen Rivian? You guys know the Rivians?
Those are nice.
For every car produced, they lose $50,000.
Wow.
The only profitable EV company is Tesla. I think they might have went down from their Q3. I think it went from 50 to 35,000. They're losing $50,000 to $35,000 per car they produce. Lucid, you guys saw Lucid? Lucid loses $500,000 per car. But Lucid has that Saudi money backing them. You know that Saudi money is infinite. Right? Saudi money, yes. So entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurship is more than the mere creation of a business. It's seeking opportunities, taking risks beyond security, having the tenacity to push an idea through to reality. I'm coming up on my 8:45 mark. I didn't cover the material that I wanted to, but hopefully just through the snippet of this class, you'll understand not only the dialogue that we'll have, but, you know, hopefully by the time, if you want a business, you'll be able to put yourself in position to actually start and launch that business. The purpose and intention of hiring people. The purpose of having a business is not only for your own freedom, right? It's also to make sure that, you know, you're providing some livable lifestyle for somebody else, right? I mean, that's and also you want to be able to pass that business down for generational wealth, right? A business that's run by you as a sole proprietor can't be passed down to your children. I'll leave you guys here on this one. You remember the Prince story, right? Remember when Prince changed his name from Prince to the symbol?
Yeah,
Anybody know why?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was told because that way, the rest of the company couldn't make money off, well, they had to copyright what Prince. And so he changed his name to the symbol so that way he could, still make music without them robbing him or taking his money or, and the rest of the company or whatever.
A lot of music in the same, because they have rights to it.
So what happens for artists, right? Artists, they come in, they have this music, they have this opportunity, and the label wants to get back or back them, and they want to back the artist. So the label creates this contract, and the person that is the artist, when they sign, the contract says the artist, they sign their name, artist, right? Whatever that is, right? Prince signed Prince. Now, whatever that contract is, the label starts up an LLC for Prince. So it's Prince LLC. They put funding into Prince LLC, so you get $1 million music budget where you can do music videos, your wardrobe, your travel, all that's taken care of in this budget. But that $1 million budget is typically in advance off of your record sales. The record label then recoups its money based off of the record sales that come in, which this is where the artists talk about they don't get any profits or residuals from the music that they make. Not only does the label open up an LLC, invest the money into that LLC, which the person is I'm the talent behind the artist. but I'm not representing that entity. All right? Now, you'll hear artists say that they can't even perform their own songs because they don't own their masters. This goes all within whatever that contract looks like. So what happened with Prince is, Prince basically, he couldn't perform his own songs because he didn't own the masters and he didn't have the rights to play his catalog. So he said, you know what? I'm not Prince anymore. I'm the artist. I'm the symbol formerly known as Prince. He said artist because in the contract it said under his name artist. He signed Prince, but it was artist. So like that was the play of it. So understand that you have a social security number. Your social security number is a taxable ID. A business has an EIN, an employee identification number. It is a taxable ID. So when it comes down to being a business owner, the government just needs to know, how do I tax you? Do I tax you as a sole proprietor? Which means I own a landscaping company. I go out and I knock door to door and I charge $100 per house I cut. I make at the end of the year $60,000. I'm supposed to tell the government I made $60,000. Then the government tells me how much I owe them in taxes. Now, most sole proprietors, if I told you you made $100,000 in cash, and then you got to tell the government you made $100,000 in cash so that the government can send you a bill for $37,000, what are you going to do when it comes time to write your taxes? Now, this becomes a problem for business owners too that are setting this structure, because when you tell them you make $50,000, when you go and you want to get that house, you want to get that car, you want to get those things that require credit, well, your business only made $50,000 and it was $50,000 in revenue. How much did it actually pay you? So you have these challenges that go on, but again, the government basically wants to know, how do I charge you, or how do I collect taxes from you? All right. So this becomes, I believe it was not Robert Smith, one of those, I think it was Howard or Clark. When the students graduated, one of the people from the graduating class, she was like, I bought everybody an LLC, so you guys are all business owners. You guys remember that? It was probably about 4 or so years ago. Yeah. My problem with that is everyone thinks they have a business with an LLC. My thing with this, like your LLC, like you don't want to start an LLC up until you actually make money for your business. Because you have to report your taxes at the end of the year. This is what happened with the PPP money. I'm upset that I didn't take it. I tried to be a good, upstanding citizen. I tried to be. How bad it was, I was on a call, I got put on a panel discussion during that time. There was this gentleman who got access to $150,000 in cash from PPP money. And he was like, I haven't spent it, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but I just wanna go through some business classes before I choose where to allocate this money, but I'm thinking real estate. Now, to get access to this PPP money, you had to tell them you made X amount of dollars. For that PPP money to be forgiven, it had to be going to paying your utilities, paying employees, or paying something that's for your business. So my problem was these people went to the government, they said they made $1.5 million for a business that they never made $1.5 million for it, and they never filed taxes for it. They got the money. I blame the Republican and Democrat issues, like one side of the house basically tries to hold up everything, but it already got approved, right? So you sit here and the process, the money got approved, but how we actually vetted the sources didn't. People got all this money. A good amount of people got forgiven.
Yeah.
More people got forgiven than I expected.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, but a lot of people went to jail too.
Or is still being investigated.
Or still in current investigation. So understand that no matter what your business is, right? There's a process. And this business has to have a market where you can grow. And you don't want to grow fast. You don't want to go from one sale to 1 million. You want to be able to scale that to go from one sale to 100. I might have made $2 off of everything I sold. Now, when I go from 100 to 1,000, I need to buy the product for cheaper, and now I earn more money. I'm scaling it to meet the market, but I need to know that information. What we find and what we have in our community with businesses, it's either this is a skill I'm strong at, I know how to work on cars, I'm a mobile mechanic. I know how to cut lawns, I'm gonna start a landscaping business, a painting, daycares, right? Daycares, you can only have but 9 kids per person, I believe. So even in a daycare, you could start up a daycare, but like realistically, if you're only a 2-person team, you can't have more than however many kids. Like the amount of money you can earn from one daycare, you guys earn a lot more money with the degrees. You guys have a lot more freedom and flexibility with the degrees and the education and experience you have. However, I'm a firm believer that you get the high earning, you get the high paying job, right? So chase the skill set that is high paying. Take your money and invest into your business. You work on your business, not in your business, all right? A lot of times, if you don't have the time, you think, what can I do, right? So you start to basically contract yourself out, which causes you to go into hustle mode, compared to if I have $20,000 and I take that $20,000 and let me open up 4 bank accounts, all right? I got $3,000 in each bank account, and I'm gonna put $1,000 in a secured credit card. I just took my cash, I secured it, and I gave myself access to more capital. And I'm developing a relationship with multiple institutions. An institution won't loan you money if you never bank with them. An institution, any financial institution, the purpose of the financial institution is to lend money. The problem with the Black and brown community is when we go to a financial institution with a business idea, we don't have a business plan completed. And the people that fund the loans or the people that put the information into the system that tells you if your loan is approved or not, it's not their job to teach you how to get access to funding. So, and I say this also, my previous past life, I was in IT for 7 years. So I was in IT for a credit union. I automated 90% of my job. If something went wrong to the system, if your interest didn't charge right, if something happened with how the system, I'm the one that they call. So I'm very well acclimated with how the system process works, and it's all computer system. The people at the front line, they don't do anything but push buttons, put numbers in the system, and the system makes the answers. You might have somebody over them that can approve and deny and, you know, take on special circumstances and so forth, but realistically, it's all from the computer. So if you don't know the right people, right, where most, like the Caucasian, like one of the businesses I consulted for, mother was Jewish. Her mother passed down a portfolio that was dividend earning. She makes $50,000 a year off the dividend earning portfolio. She can basically go to the bank that she banks with, the investment bank. She can pull out her own loan. And she doesn't have a job. This portfolio makes $50,000 a year. She's pulling out a loan based off of the money, not that she's earning, the money that's in the portfolio, and it's earning $50,000 a year. So she was able to pull this money out to start up a landscaping business for her son. Like, and that goes into, and I'll leave it here, always chase or always track the dollar. You have these people that are entrepreneurs and they encourage entrepreneurism, but you don't know what their true background is. You can't run your business and pay your bills at the same time. It's impossible. You're going to be paying your bills one month, and then you're going to be hustling to make that money back so you can pay them again next month. You can't work your job and pay your bills at the same time. All right. So be cautious of these entrepreneurs that are, I'll say, the Donald Trumps, all right? Donald Trump said, look, I'm self-made. He said, my dad gave me $1 million loan and I had to make the decisions to go into real estate and build my wealth. My parents wouldn't loan me $1,000, let alone $1 million. So when you think about this, like, and these entrepreneurs that are out there, like, always check where are they getting their money from? Because if you don't have a job, if you don't own assets, how are you paying your bills? How are you getting access to buy things unless you have cash?
Opening up these credit cards, that's what they get.
But still, it only goes to a certain point, and you're not going to be able to get access to more money. Donald Trump filed for bankruptcy how many times?
Yeah.
Right? That's actually not a bad thing. It's smart. Like, you can file for bankruptcy and then, like,
To prevent your credit.
this what happens, okay, I promise you last thing, this what happens with furniture companies. You ever notice how every year furniture companies say going out of business, final closing sale, blowout sale, and then when you come back next year, it's still a furniture company, it's just a new name? So these furniture companies, they start up this business, it's an LLC, they get it funded, they buy the product, and then during slow times when people don't buy, they bankrupt the business. When you bankrupt the business, you have to liquidate a certain amount of assets, but you get to keep the rest. So they start up a new business under an LLC with the liquidated assets, and then it's just a process all over again. It's, again, Trump said it, he gets taxed less than his administrative assistant, and it's not because he's doing anything wrong, it's because he's smarter than everybody else. These loopholes are there, but if we don't read them, if we're not talking to the right people, we never take advantage of them, and we feel like the system is against us. I think that's probably going to be where this economic inequality conversation goes, and I'm going to change your mind about that next week. When we come into class next week, we'll probably start off a conversation about economic inequality. Let me actually show you guys those assignments now. But also for my tutor, this is how class goes. I try my hardest to go through more than 5 slides, but I pretty much never do. But I promise you the material that's in there, we covered it. And I'll cover it throughout this course, all right? So don't worry about the presentations. You're not going to be able to pass a quiz because you watched the presentation. That material is all from the textbook. All right, the PowerPoints might have 50% of the questions, but the answers are coming from the text. But this is how class will go. We'll come in, we'll talk the material at the 8:45 mark. I'll review the assignments for next week. Everybody's looking at me like this. I'll pretty much answer questions, but when it starts to get too confusing of a conversation, I'll send you guys all off on your way and say, please read the instructions and then let me know what your questions are. All right. But that's how it works. All right. So let's go back up to, and now again, this is my challenge at this point in class too, because we'll talk about this, but y'all are tired and I talked about a lot as it is. So remembering deadlines, due dates, and all that stuff becomes more of a challenge. So the chapter one quiz was open as of November 5th. It's due today at 6 o'clock. It's available until November 14th at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so the chapter one quiz, we have 2 more days to complete it. With the quizzes, when there's an extended available date, there is no point deduction. However, also with the quizzes, if you miss a quiz, you miss a quiz. I don't reopen them, all right? The quizzes are my CYA, all right? This is my way to cover my own ass. The one thing you will not do at week 5 is come to me and say, I didn't learn anything. Because remember, I can't teach you a textbook or material that you didn't open. So most likely a person that tells me that, you probably failed the class, and I can look at your quiz scores and assume that you didn't open up because you didn't pass the quizzes. All right, but again, it's my own personal CYA. All right, the quizzes are going to be no more than 15 questions. I think they're actually only 10. They're very short and chewable. You get 60 minutes to complete the quiz. Somehow students complete them on average in 3 minutes. I won't dive into how they do it or whatever, but I just start to see the quiz statistics and students do it. Yes. So again, a CYA thing. All right. I can't teach you something that you don't open up a textbook and actually engage in the material. All right. So these quizzes are more or less my confirmation that you actually opened up the book before we came into class. All right. Again, if you miss one, you miss it. They're like 10 points. You got an opportunity to take up to 10 quizzes throughout this course. You missing one is not going to cause you to fail. You missing 2 is not going to cause you to fail. You not taking any could cause you to fail. All right. So the first quiz, it's open until November 14th at midnight. The chapter 2 quiz open until November 15th at midnight. The chapter 3 quiz is open until November 15th at midnight. November 15th being 3 days away at midnight. Again, don't feel overwhelmed if you can't do some of this material. All right. I'd rather you make the best effort than just say F it and not do it at all. All right. And I promise you, if you say F it and not do it, you're not going to pass. If you actually try it and attempt and like give it valiant effort and actually read, like if you actually go through your process, I promise you, you won't leave out here with less than a C, and it will be really hard to leave out here with less than a B. Like the only reason you leave out this class, specifically this class, with less than a B is you're not doing your individual work. All right, introduction assignment. Again, I had you guys read this article for the Economic Inequality by Paul Graham. You guys said you guys read it, so all I'm asking for is you introducing yourself to me, and in that introduction, address those discussion points. All right. Now remember, there's always a method to my madness. So not only was this article sent to you guys a week ago, and there was an assignment that you guys were informed about with this article also relates to this. So in my mind, the first thing you would have attacked is read the article, write the introduction letter, so that now when you do this discussion, if you've already read the material, you've already wrote your own reflection, the discussion should be easy work for you. My problem is, if you haven't started it, of course, you're going to be stressed and overworked and overwhelmed. Okay? So for the submission for your introduction letter, make sure your introduction letter is 1 full page or longer, right? All submissions will have a title page. Do not use a name header, okay? The title page is where you put your name, date, my name, the assignment title, whatever information you want to put up there, that's where your header goes into the title page. On that next page, start the assignment. Unless indicated that you should have a header or subheader, which you would have for the business plan, any other assignment, title page, and then the assignment. So how this submission would look, title page, you next new page, write your introduction letter. 1 full page is going 2 sentences into the next page. All right. So again, the instructions are key. If you submit something and you go all the way down to the very last, like if it goes down to the bottom of the page, but not into the new page, you submitted 3/4 of a page, not a full page. A full page is completing the full page and going 2 sentences into the next. If you submit half a page, it's automatically a 20-point deduction. If you do not make 1 full page, it's automatically 20-point deduction. Like everywhere, it's appropriate. Coming on the alpha appropriate. So, all right. Again, the instructions in the formatting is key. They're simple points you don't need to lose. 12.5 double space times New Roman, title page is 10 points. If you don't have a title page, you lose 10 points. You don't make the minimum, you lose 20 points. So no title page, no minimum page length, you already are starting off at a 7. All right. For this one, to your note and your question earlier, when I was trying to hold us off, okay? You'll see here, the bolded line at the very bottom of this says, submissions, introductions are due November 12th at 6 p.m. and will be available until November 14th. Submissions after the 14th will have a 20-point deduction.
That was my concern, because last time you told us that, and it didn't work that way. So that's why I wanted clear understanding of that. Thank you.
Any other questions? If it's in the assignment instructions, I will always abide by it. That never changes. So again, I lead by what's in here. All right. So that's why it's so important that you read these in the entirety. All right. So that was all the assignments that would have been due today before coming into class. All right, obviously you see they're all tiered, so they're really not due until the 14th or the 15th. Okay. So now we're getting into next week's assignments. So before coming into class, these are the things that should be completed. All right. The first week is 3 quizzes, chapters 1, 2, and 3. Next week is 3 quizzes, chapters 5, 6, and 12, I believe. Okay.
You should go 5 and 12 here.
It's just 5 and 12? Yeah, so it's 5 and 12, but you're responsible for 3 chapters to read. The quizzes are 5 and 12. All right. And I have that up here, so. Okay. So chapter 5 quiz is due before we come into class at 6 p.m. You have until midnight to complete the chapter 5 quiz. Let's not battle. I don't want to fight and argue with none of y'all. Don't do the work in this class. I promise you, I will have you removed from the class. I don't want to battle. Like, we're adults in here and nobody has time to stress. Like, I want you guys to learn as much as possible. If you guys don't know and haven't realized I'm truly passionate about this, I'm not here because they're paying me a lot of money. Like, I'm really here and I'm invested in your future. I'm invested in like the Black and brown community. Like, I'm like this is like something I'm passionately driven by. All right. I don't want to argue y'all or argue with y'all because it's a lot of work. The work is the work. Who cares? That's going to happen one way or another, whether work is going to be the work. Let's just come sharpen iron, do what you can. Know that, again, I'm here for your success. So I'm not here to overwhelm you or to somebody make the comment to give you busy work. I'm not here for none of that. Everything that I do is very intentional because I want to make sure that you can apply it. So even in previous classes, I was very intentional to make sure that the stuff we do, yes, it may seem like additional work, but it was all applicable. And that was the biggest thing and biggest takeaway for me. All right. So next week, this is available until, and what I'll probably do is I'll probably close it and then I'll reopen it because I don't want the battle. All right. But as of right now, you know that this is due at 11:59 next week. No point deductions on the quizzes. If they're extended, they're open, they're available. You can take them until that when that available date goes. The quiz is no longer available. I don't care if one student, his dog ran out while he was taking the quiz and nobody comes to that, nobody answered, or the dog doesn't answer anybody but him. So he had to leave, go chase the dog, and then by the time he came back, his laptop died. And then when he went and started his laptop back up, then all of a sudden, I'm not lying. I'm telling you a real story. This is a true story.
I believe it.
Like this is, and I know, and it's very possible that this is a true story. However, I don't like being judge and jury. I'm very black and white because just as much as you laugh at that story, right? But it happened, and I know it happened.
I just want to know when you was getting that story, did you go?
Same thing with everybody, you know, look, don't worry about it, it's not gonna cause you to fail, all right? Chapter 12 is the effective business plan. So notice this, it's available today. It's due on the 19th, but you can take it all the way up until the 20th at 11:59. Okay, so again, you guys have to pay, I can't force you to read this stuff. It's in there. Just read it. Read it from top to bottom and make sure you check and I don't know what this looks like for you. Okay, so I'm in teacher mode. I don't know what it looks like for students, and I've never seen the student mode. All right, so, but you guys are responsible for knowing this stuff and knowing how the system works. All right. So discussions. Let me first pull up the week 1 discussion, and the discussion is actually not up here. So let me pull up the week 1 discussion, and then I'll show you how the week 2 discussion will work. So I was hoping Kemperlin was here for this. And Tamika, can you give me 1 second? You gotta go to the restroom, but yeah. Right now, can you give me? No, go ahead. But I just know this part might have a lot of questions. Okay. So, but you're fine. You're fine. All right. So within the responses, all right, understand that when you do a discussion response, the first thing you're going to do is there should be this little button for the discussion that says reply. All right. So the first thing you do is you read the instructions, you read the article, read the instructions, and then your original post is when you hit reply. Okay? The due date on the discussions is assigned to the original post. However, your replies are due whenever the available date ends. The reason for that, if I had this discussion open on the 5th and closed on the 19th, you guys aren't going to read that assignment or do any of your posts. 80% of you aren't going to read that assignment or do your post until next week, 2 days before class. So the person or 2 people that read it 2 days before it or when it opened and posted, then they're going to sit here and wait to reply, but there's nobody or no activity, no conversation. Now you're causing the person that was early to be in a situation where they might get a grade that's not passing simply because there was no active conversation. So with these discussions, the due date is for the original post. The replies are due whenever the assignment available date ends. Okay? So the way these work is you have your minimum, your original post. So for this one, the minimum word count is 125 words. All right. If you want to receive a 100, so these discussions are worth 200 points. These discussions are worth 200 points. If you want to receive 100 points for the original post, double the minimum word count. Reaching the minimum word count will give you 75 points. So 100 points is the original post, and then the other 100 points is 2 replies to your classmates. All right. Again, on time would be your original post would be completed by, and this was Kimberly's question here. The original post should be completed by December 15th. The replies, the 2 replies, this submission is going to close next week before we come into class. Again, to get full value, double the word count. I recommend write your response in Word, Microsoft Word, copy and paste. Be careful with the AI thing, because you may have to submit these assignments to be assessed on an independent level. So be very cautious on what you use. This is a discussion. It's an organic conversation. What I don't want to see is, and it always happens for discussions, you guys tend to critique somebody's writing. Hey, this was very well written. You have a really strong grasp of this material. I enjoyed reading. Keep up the great work. This is a discussion. Give me a real response. So responses like, hey, you did a great job. Thank you for your input. isn't acceptable. Like, this should be a dialogue back and forth between you and your classmates. All right?
Question, sorry, question. So type, we should be safe typing it in there once we hear response. Once we hear reply and the box opens up, we should be okay just typing it in there ourselves.
Yeah, you can do that too, but I find that there's a lot of errors that happen that way too. So just be careful on your error checking process. For discussions, every error is 1 point off. And I'm literally taking what you have, I read it and I copy it in Microsoft Word, I do the word count, and then, obviously I'll assess the grammar, and you'll get a grade based off of the word count minus any grammar errors, which will be 1 point.
So sometimes we're just trying to correct what I'm saying, but I don't want its correction, so I reject it, and I say, no, don't change mine, that's what I want to say. If it highlights that, would you give me, like, okay, an example is like I say, in order for us to better, say no, but to better, I want to say in order for us to do this, that's how I speak.
I'm not, so my spelling and grammar, I'm not being like a grammar police, okay? It's more or less how it reads.
Okay.
All right, so if I read it and it doesn't make sense, that's when I'm taking off for grammar. All right, like I'm not giving you like if you have a run-on, like I'm not saying, hey, that's a run-on sentence, grammar error. But when I read it, if it makes no sense and it just happens to make no sense because it's a run-on, then it's a grammar error. Does that make sense? So like if there was a correction, but you wanted it to say that, when I read it, it should read fluently and there's no error, so there shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
All right. So the first discussion, again, your original post is due Friday. That's Friday at midnight. The 2 responses are due Tuesday before we come back into class next week. When this closes, it closes. This is 200 points. Your discussions, you have 3 of them, and they're all worth 200 points. So this can be one that could hurt your grade if you only do a post, the original post, but no replies. Like this does trip people up just because you have to actively monitor this on the due dates as well. And I believe that once that due date goes, it will only show for you guys as an available assignment to take. It won't show as upcoming due assignments. All right, so, again, just be cognizant of that. So we come in from there, and then we go into reading this minority business owners report. You have until Sunday, November 19th to reply on this one, right? This is a 9-page article.
That's a Tuesday. 19th is a Tuesday.
This is the second discussion. So for this one, it's open now, but your original post isn't due until next Sunday. Not this Sunday, next Sunday. All right, so this would be something I would normally go over next week when we come in. Your response is due on Sunday. We're going over it now so you can get access to the readings and you can get started on this material in advance. Okay, again, what stood out to you in the article? What facts do you think cause disparities experienced by minority-owned business, and what can be done to improve minority-owned business operations? Right, so answer the questions. Now this one, the word count probably increased, if I'm not mistaken. So actually it did. The replies increased, but your original post, 125 words, you get 75 points. If you double that, 100. Again, the minimum length of the reply from the first discussion was 50 words for 75 points, 100 words for 100. This one is 75 words for 75 points, 150 words for 100. All right, so it becomes a business decision on if you want to meet or exceed. Now, when I say exceed, don't do 500 words unless you go in and it was great and you couldn't help yourself. Like literally hit 305 words, right? Not including your name, not including, the opening salutations. Just hit the minimum and that suffice. Okay. And I think this is the same way, which again, yes. So another one, this isn't actually open for this week, but I'm gonna open this up for you guys. I won't talk about it. It's the hedgehog concept. We'll talk about this next week, but again, I'll open it up for you guys and start now. There's a book by Jim Collins called Good to Great. I highly recommend that you guys read it. It's a bit like everybody in the business world read it like 5 to 10 years ago. But it talks about how the enemy of good is great, or the enemy of great is good. The argument is that there's too many good companies, not enough great companies. There's too many good financial institutions, not great financial institutions. So he makes this argument and does this research case to say, what is it that makes great companies compared to good companies? A piece of it, he basically talks about how great companies have a hedgehog concept. That hedgehog concept is one thing that they do great. We used to, for this course, read that textbook along with their textbook. I since took that away, but I kept this assignment. Remember, with the business that you open, a lot of us have great ideas that we're not passionate about. So the business tends to fail, not because it's not a good idea, but it's simply because it was a great idea you didn't want to work. So this hedgehog process will go through a series of 3 questions. What can you be the best at in the world? What drives your economic engine? And then what are you deeply passionate about? The goal is you brainstorm those 3 things first. So your submission, you'll have one document that's a brainstorm document, and you'll brainstorm on those 3 points, all right? The next component will be you actually writing your response. Now, what happens is, and what should happen, again, I'm very applicable. What should happen is as you're looking at these items, there's going to be things that cross on all 3 layers where you can be the best at it in the world. It drives your economic engine and you're deeply passionate about it. So this becomes, when you identify what you're deeply passionate about, I would argue that this is what you pursue for a business, but I'd also argue that if your job doesn't fit in the line with those 3 threshold marks, you need to get a new job. Organizational behavior, you guys have, right? Organizational behavior is one of my favorite classes. You haven't had it yet? Well, org behavior is one of my favorite classes, and org behavior will tell you that it's actually data, it's scientific data that happy employees not only earn more money over their career, but they also earn more revenue. So I challenge you that if you're not happy at your job, your happiness is causing you not to be successful. So again, why I encourage you to really take a strong, serious, deep dive into this. Find what you're passionate about. And then the jobs and the places and the things that you do for work, if they don't hit that center part, you're not going to be successful. So why are you applying, or why would you even accept the job? Money's great, but it's only great to a certain point, right? Like, you know, there's a certain point that, you know, all the money in the world isn't going to continue to have you doing whatever it may be. All right, so again, this is kind of one of those applicable things that you can take it outside of a business, but I wouldn't get into a business unless it's something you're passionate about. And again, I'd argue I wouldn't work for a company unless you're doing something you're passionate about. That could be, I love teaching, right? That could be, but I might not be the best at it in the world, right? That could be, I love communicating, right? I could be the best at communicating. People would pay me for my communication. That could be teaching, that could be a podcast, that could be recording videos and uploading data content and broadcasting that around. I can take talking, my passion behind it, my ability to earn, and then anything that requires me to talk and teach becomes the things I pursue. So the idea, the goal is that you look at things like that. So again, I'm opening this now because I want you to do a deep dive. If you're not happy where you are, find out what makes you happy and pursue it, because you're going to earn a lot more money based off of that happiness. I'm way over, but thank you. Again, we're going to learn a lot. We're going to talk about a lot, but my ultimate purpose is that you'll walk out here and I guarantee you, like, you can get access to a large amount of money to start up your business. Get that degree, earn that hiring skill set, get that money, invest your money into your business so that then that's your exit strategy. If there's no questions, have a good night. The recording will be up, probably give me about 8 hours or so. But it's there for you, share it, go back, revisit it. For class one, you took back a lot.
Have a good night.
You as well. Hey, give me a second.